Hello, this is Hansu Kim. Today I'd like to present my data analysis project, which is about football match outcomes and performance modeling. Let's begin with the exploratory data analysis EDA. I reviewed the total number of matches each team has played. So most teams had played either 38 or 39 matches, which is expected given the point in the season. But a few teams were one match behind, but this is really minor imbalance and it can be easily managed in simulations. So it's totally fine. And on the right side, I wrote it down that I've identified two missing match entries. One match ID 162708, which was Chesterfield versus Gillingham, and match ID 162871, Salford and Doncaster match. This is missing from the dataset because those matches were delayed, but it doesn't really impact my analysis and simulation, so I'll just ignore it. And to assess if performance outcomes differ across teams, I performed the chi-square test on win, draw and lose distributions. The result was statistically significant with a p-value of 0.0062, which is well below the standard threshold of 0.05. This means team performance outcomes are not random and actually vary meaningfully between teams. And importantly, both assumptions for the chi-square test are met. All expected frequencies were well above 5, and the overall sample size was really strong. So I can say that the result is reliable and valid. And I also verified the integrity of key identifiers. Specifically, each squad ID matches only one squad name. There were no mismatches or inconsistencies in naming. And lastly, I looked into goal data. Out of 459 total matches, 435 had perfectly consistent goal reporting between both teams. However, 24 matches had discrepancies like mismatches in opponent goals or own goals, which likely stem from human errors in data entry. But yeah, these discrepancies were flagged for correction in later steps, so please bear with me. And the next step in the feature selection stage, the goal was to identify which variables most influence match outcomes, whether a team wins, draws or loses. I did this by checking the correlation between each variable and the match result score. Especially, I selected only those variables with a correlation value higher than 0.3 in absolute terms. So this threshold ensures which we only focus on the features that have a really strong enough relationship with the outcome to be considered meaningful. By narrowing down to these variables, I could improve model efficiency and reduce noise from the irrelevant data. This selection also sets the stage for better feature engineering, allowing us to derive new metrics that more accurately reflect team strengths and weaknesses. Based on the selected variables, I began engineering new features to better represent actual team performance. I first created match results, win, draw or lose, based on the goal-related fields, goals scored, own goals and opponent goals. However, due to inconsistencies found in the EDA phases, as I showed you, these values didn't always align perfectly. So I recoded inconsistent records to maintain balance, ensuring that a win for one team is always lost for the other. The next, I grouped variables into 4 different performance-based categories. Attack creation score, it includes the seed shot expected goals, which is XG value, and metrics like assists from specific pitch zones. And attack finishing score focuses on actual goal conversion using stats like goals scored and post-shot XG, which is a bit different from the XG value. And there are 2 more defense score. One defense prevention score, which measures how well a team prevents goals, and it includes opponent goals and defensive errors. And the other one is defense action score, which evaluates active defense efforts like ball wins and defensive touches. Its score is calculated as the average of its key variables. These categories give me a more strategic view of team performance than looking at just raw stats alone. And there's a graph here. This graph shows how well the team performs in defending and attacking. In the graph, teams with a high attack and defense scores are positioned in the upper right side. And it suggests the teams located in the area are more likely to be in the top part of the league table. Conversely, teams in the lower left part tend to have a lower rankings. However, this relationship is not perfectly consistent, so it indicates that there is still room for the improvement in this model. And football, it's not just about long-term performance, I think. It's often shaped by momentum, so I included each team's recent 5-match form, assuming that current performance trends often carry into future games. For example, a team on a winning streak might continue to outperform expectations. In addition to recent form, I included the team's average season along points. This captures their consistent performance level and accounts for overall strengths. And high-ranking teams generally have a statistically better chance of winning, so this becomes a useful complement. And I also classified teams into 6 distinct playing styles based on their tactical tendencies. Possession, counteract, high press, direct play, defensive, and wing play. So to define each style, I grouped related events level variables. You can see the small tiny letters below the possession, counteract, high press, direct play, defensive, wing play. These are all variables from the data set. So things like bypass opponents, types of passes, ball recoveries, defensive touches, depending on the tactical context. For example, the possession, it includes variables related to control ball progression, short passing, while counteract focuses more on the quick transitions and bypassing defenders in fewer passes. And high press emphasizes defensive actions in advanced zones, like interceptions and ball wins in the final third. Defensive teams, on the other hand, they are identified through high defensive involvement in deeper areas and clearance under pressure. I also included direct play indicators like long balls and aerial duels, and wing play metrics such as crosses and progression through wide lanes. So this structured variable grouping allowed me to assign a dominant playing style to each team, which I later used to analyze style matchups and their potential influence on the match outcomes beyond just teams' rankings. I just wanted to talk about the matchup effect, or in football terms, maybe it could be tactical compatibility, I think, or style advantage. Like a team that's not the strongest overall, but tends to do really well against a specific kind of opponent. Maybe like Spurs versus Man City. Spurs wins a lot to Man City, isn't it? So that could be one of examples, but I want to show you this example as a Korean. I think the great example of style-based matchup is South Korea's 2-0 win over Germany at the 2018 World Cup. Even though Germany was the strongest side in terms of quality and stats, their slow possession-heavy build-up struggled against Korea's compact defensive shape and traditional style. So Germany had over 70% possession, played a high-volume passing game, and applied constant pressure, but they struggled to convert that into goals. That was the problem. But South Korea used a compact defense with a quick transition play. They remained disciplined, defended in numbers, and waited for the right moment to break forward. So eventually, both the goals came from the counter-attacks. Despite having low XG and fewer shots, their style disrupted Germany's flow completely. So this match shows how a team's playing style can counteract even the strongest opponents. So in my model, these style-based matchups are used to estimate outcome probabilities and possible upsets. But I'm not telling you that this should be like blindly trusted or used as a 100% predictor of the match outcomes. I'm not telling you like this. I believe it can serve as a valuable indicator when you use it with other factors. So it could be just one of variables, like really valuable indicators to support the results. We can't use it only itself. And there's another real-world factor which impacts match performance is travel, which is travel distance, especially for away teams. Since teams in this league mostly travel by bus, long distances can increase fatigue and reduce performance. To account for this, I calculated travel distances between each home stadium using their geographic coordinates, latitude and longitude. These distances were used to create a fatigue score for away teams. It's a small but important variable in the prediction model, I think. Ensuring our forecasts aren't purely statistical, but grounded in practical matchday conditions. After engineering all features, I move into a modeling phase. Each team's match score was calculated using a weighted formula that combines 5 key components. So each of them have their own percentage. It's a bit subjective, but it makes sense to be fair. So attack score 35% weight, resent form 30%, average season points 20%, defense score 10%, style advantage 5%. But for the away team, I subtract 5% based on the fatigue score due to travel. By calculating the difference between home and away scores, we get the predicted results for the match. So this balanced weighting structure reflects the idea that resent form and attacking strengths are usually the strongest predictors. But the other factors like fatigue or defense still contribute meaningfully as well. If machine learning were used to calculate match score, the percentage will be different for each feature, as you can see on the right side here in the red box. However, when I compare the predicted results with the actual ones, the prediction accuracy was even lower than what I've done without machine learning. I couldn't find what the issue was, so it could highlight an area where the model can be further developed in the future. So back to the point. So to test the model, I used data from 31 fixtures that are called after the dataset was finalized. It gives me an honest test set, since these matches weren't used in training or calibration. Out of 31 fixtures, the model correctly predicted 17 of them, which results in 54.84%, which is around 55%, and it's really high prediction accuracy, I think, because given the complexity of football, where the randomness plays a large role, this level of accuracy is really encouraging for a data-driven model. And the next slide, the following table, it summarizes the total points earned by each team, calculated from the results of all remaining 93 fixtures. And following the update to the fixture released after my initial analysis, I incorporated the changes and I applied the remaining match predictions to simulate the projected final standings. So summary, according to my model, Port Vale, Doncaster Rovers and Walsall are projected to be promoted to League One, fortunately. However, Morecambe and Carlisle United are expected to be relegated. I also see form trends. Doncaster and Chesterfield finished the season very strong. Doncaster moved into the top 3, while Chesterfield stays in the promotion race. And conversely, teams like Wimbledon and Bradford experienced a drop in the form. So Wimbledon once in the contention for promotion, but ends up in falling out of the race. And based on this simulation and current form trends, the model predicts that Bradford City will win the playoffs and achieve promotion. That's all for today.